Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What secret are you currently hiding from someone that you're willing to share on Reddit? If you ever need help, then please know that there are many qualified people who would like to help you. https://www.iasp.info/resources/crisis_centers. http://www.befrienders.org/ http://www.suicidepreventionlifeline.org/gethelp/lifelinechat.aspx. http://www.samaritans.org/how-we-can-help-you, UK. https://www.lifeline.org.au/get-help/. There are crisis services worldwide that are trained to provide support. They are designed to give temporary relief from feelings that are overwhelming you, and while they are unlikely to fix any underlying problems, can help you get through a tough hour, night per week. Chat services are usually available on these sites. In the US, calling 211 or going to their website is a free referral source. They have providers who will see you regardless of your ability to pay. Just as you would see a doctor when you are sick, you deserve to take care of your mental health. I've started to on occasion, accidentally, but on purpose, not hang up my phone correctly when getting off a call with my daughter-in-law. I then proceed to talk to my husband about how much I enjoy talking to her, how lovely I think she is, how glad I am that our son chose her, and whatever other boost I may think she needs. She doesn't have any family that uplifts her, just the kind that tears her down. I started doing this after my son told me about his wife coming to him in full-on snot tears, because I had once butt-dialed her while talking to my husband about her. She stayed on the line to hear what I, really, thought of her, expecting the worst because that's been her experience of family. Apparently she was quite touched by the things I said, and my son told me it gave her a confidence boost that lasted weeks. So I do it more often now. Neither of them have any idea I do it on purpose, though. They just think I'm getting old and worse at managing my tech. You are that rarest of mother-in-law, the good kind. There's also something about people who feign elderly confusion, to get away with things, that tickles my funny bone. My grandparents have been doing it since they were in their 50s. Your comment made me remember working with an older lady during my first job at McDonald's. If you ever asked about the grill, she'd always say, "I forget." I remember coming in one day and the guy we had on grill had ran to the restroom and she needed sausage down soon. I looked and caught her dropping some. She looked at me, put her finger to her lips and smiled. She eventually quit but came back 6 months later, and I remember asking in broken Spanish where she went and why she came back. With the same smile she said, "Home, but I got bored." It was great working with her, both of us barely speaking the other's language but still doing things to make one another laugh. I haven't thought about her in a minute, so thank you for the memory jog. I have a sweet one. My father is convinced that lilies were my late mother's favorite flower, because their wedding venue was filled to the brim with them and she was supposed to be the one who picked the flowers. He got her lilies for every birthday, anniversary, and whenever she was in the hospital. My mother was in poor health most of her life. When she passed away, the funeral was full of lilies, and he still sometimes puts a vase of lilies beside her urn. The thing is, my mother once confessed to me that lilies weren't her favorite flower. She was fine with them, but she preferred morning glories and sunflowers. My domineering grandmother, however, told her those weren't classy enough for a wedding and hounded her about it until my mom gave in and let her pick lilies. Mom was actually pretty wounded by how dramatic the floral arrangements ended up being, another big, showy way for her mom to say, "I'm right and you're wrong." When she later voiced this, my grandmother brushed it off with, "Please, no one's going to remember a thing about your wedding." Quote, "But my dad remembered. He got her lilies every day of their honeymoon, and by the end of the week she'd gone from annoyed to deeply touched. He didn't know the backstory, he just wanted to make her happy, and in doing so he kind of stripped the negative association away from them. She told me she liked that he gave her lilies more than flowers themselves. They turned from a symbol of being ignored to a sign that somebody was thinking of her happiness. She swore me to secrecy, and I'll take it to the grave. Rip, Mom. I love this story. It makes me love your mom and dad. I'm sorry for your loss. I am the 7 accounts that donate to my cousin's streams. Little man needs something positive, and it's better if he thinks it's from internet strangers and not a sympathetic cousin. Edit, for those telling me to link his stuff, I'm not going to. Not meant as an insult to the decent folk on here, but the internet is vile and I would like to spare him that as long as possible. I do this with my son. He has made hundreds of YouTube videos over the last 3 years and I have been paying for views, subs, and supporting his channel to help keep his spirits up when his channel growth slows down. I could never tell him, but it's a hobby he's very passionate about and I just want to support him. I'm glad I found other people who do this. My son gets so excited when he gets another subscriber. Hell, I've even gotten people at work to subscribe to his channel. The look on his face makes my year over and over. I have rented a Bouncy House water slide for my wife's 39th birthday. She has no idea. OMG, can I come for it? That's like my literal dream. So my excuse is we have friends staying that weekend that have children. We don't, but secretly it's because I know she'll love it. Our wedding reception had one, along with a slip inside, sumo suits, and giant boxing gloves. 10 out of 10 would do it over again. In 6th grade, I pissed in a bottle of Coca-Cola that had 1/4 of its content remaining. You see, this asshole of a bully often tries to forcefully take my snack during recess, so I handed him that bottle of cola. He did make a comment that it had an awful aftertaste, but nothing too crazy of a reaction. At that moment, I felt like I would burst into laughter, but if I did, he would suspect something was wrong with the cola. I also knew I would be in a world of trouble if the teachers knew I did something horrendous like that. So I kept my mouth shut and walked away. Till this day, I haven't seen him since 6th grade, and I'm currently in my first year of college. Well played. This would never work for me because I would be too grossed out at the thought, and the bully himself would never know. There would be no satisfaction in it for me. 'Tis the curse of being squeamish. I'm not colorblind. When I was very young, I didn't understand what colorblindness was. My dad is colorblind, and I thought that automatically meant I was too. And apparently everybody did. I was maybe in high school before I actually took a test and I aced it. But by then all my friends had been buying colorblind compatible versions of board games, and we had all sorts of inside jokes about being colorblind. Honestly, it's been a bonding moment with my friends. So I just haven't told them, and I've kept up the ruse for about 15 years now. That's intense. Gotta take it to the grave now, but I understand the why. This is something George Costanza would do. George, it's over. Done. No more. Jerry, with Sharon. Why? You didn't tell her, did you? George, oh, it's worse than that. I showed her. I screwed up and now it's over. I tried to give her flowers like she likes and it went so wrong. I gave her the wrong ones. They were the wrong color. Jerry, but she knows you're colorblind. You convinced her. George, I switched the colors the wrong way. She loves red flowers, so I figured I would get her the opposite of that and she would think it's cute and thoughtful that, despite my affliction. Jerry, made up affliction. George, made up affliction, that I still spent my hard-earned money on something that makes her happy, and it doesn't matter if I got her the wrong color because she thinks I'm colorblind. She would even feel sympathy for me, thus entangling our emotions more and drawing us closer together. Jerry, right, entangling afflictions, go on. George, but I forgot the logic involved. Instead of buying the most bland, dull, and morose flowers I could find, Jerry, you didn't. Door swings open and slams against the wall. Kramer enters. George, green. Lime green. Almost neon. Like a bunch of lima beans. Jerry, how did you get from red to lima beans? Exclamation mark. George, I just went blank at the florist's. There was a woman behind me with a crying baby and the line was long and I had to get to the cleaners too before they closed and I couldn't take the heat. I panicked. Jerry, did you have the index card? Kramer, he better. I worked on that for hours. George slowly removes a crinkled up, musty index card with ink smeared on it and lowers his head in shame. Kramer sees it and lets out a gasp. Jerry, how could you? George, you never left anything in your pockets at the cleaners. Kramer, all my hard work. Ruined. Jerry, red always looks like gray or bland and lacking in color. Even I know that. Lime green should be the last thing you thought of. Kramer, does this mean he's not colorblind anymore? Jerry, it means that Sharon won't see him anymore. If George were red and she looked at him, she would see no color at all at this point. Elaine enters the apartment and feels the negative vibe in the air. Elaine, let me guess. Jerry, it's over. The jig is up. Elaine, I told you it wouldn't work. You should have played deaf instead of colorblind. You could have been deaf and dumb and you would only need to act out one of those things. You didn't listen and it's not because you're deaf. Laughter and funky bass line. I told my best friend I won a holiday in a raffle and wanted her to come with me free of charge. We stayed in a nice hostel, did lots of fun activities, and I paid for it all with a prepaid credit card from the raffle. I didn't win anything. I booked it all myself and paid everything for her because she deserved a break and I knew she couldn't afford it, nor would she have accepted me paying for her. I would do it again 10x over. She deserves the absolute world. This is so adorable, smiling face with hearts. She's genuinely the best person I know. It made my year doing this for her smiling face. I split my cat's treats in half. She's a chonky girl, and she'll never know. My dog's treats are really just a bag that contains 1/4 of her breakfast kibble. You can give her a treat seconds after breakfast is finished and she is psyched. Comment about cat. No picture of cat on profile. Why do you torture us? Question mark. He hates us as much as he hates his cat, not giving her the full treat. Absolute monster, this one. I am a teacher, and I am off for the summer. I get to spend all that time with my daughter, age 4, and my son, who is not quite 1 yet. My wife works full-time. My son is just starting to talk, and my wife and I have a friendly competition going to try to get him to say dada or mama first. What she doesn't know is that while she is at work, I spend the day talking about her and saying the word mama a lot. We have been working on it together for weeks. The other day, she walked in the door after getting home from a long day, and he looked at her and said mama clear as day. She was so happy and rubbed it in my face, playfully, that he said mama first. Even did a little happy dance. I'll never tell her. Edit. I'm going to edit since I can't respond to everybody. Thanks for all the kind words, and I am glad my little story has made so many of you happy. I cannot describe how badly I hope somebody loves and cares for me one day the way you do for your wife. 10 out of 10 good sir. This story actually made my day. She loves me back even more, so it's the least I can do.